Critical Role Recap Season 2, Episode 18. So this week we immediately started off with the combat against the Hill Giant, which was the third bout in this Victory Pit competition, the Harvest Close Festival. The Mighty Nine did manage to take out the Hill Giant. It was a bit of a task, a bit of an undertaking. He smashed Molly and Yasha into the ground and knocked them both unconscious, and things were looking pretty rough for a little while. But Caleb actually managed to get off a sleep spell and make our big Hill Giant buddy lay down for a nap, which gave Jester plenty of time to go bring up both Molly and Yasha. And then they were able to kind of all surround him and hold actions to all hit him at once so that he wouldn't get around back in. And they did end up finishing him off fresh off the ground as he was waking up. After their combat ended, they left the field and the Stubborn Stock got on for their third round, in which they fought against a wyvern whose wings had been clipped so that it couldn't fly. The fight went pretty hairy for them as well, but they did finally end up managing to kill it. So there were two victors this year, two teams that won out, and they split the total pot of 2,000 gold each. So they got 1,000 gold each, plus they were paid 200 gold for each round that they won. So both teams came out with a cool 1,600 gold. After that, there was a bit of a soiree, a bit of a party for the victors to go hang out with some of the high-class people of the city to earn their thanks and to just hang and chill and eat food and get drunk, basically. The Mighty Nine met a few people here. They interacted with some of the nobility of Zadash, and they also had a conversation with the two wizards that fought against the Crick Assassins, the ones that were flying around in the air shooting lightning bolts all over the place. Bo and Yasha were the ones that headed this conversation. Yasha gave up the information that she herself was actually from Jorhas and had just recently arrived. So that put a little bit of suspicion on her. And Trent Icathorn, one of the wizards, had a particular interest in her and wanted to have further conversations with her. After that, they went shopping again at Pumat Souls, where Ford bought the shield that gave +1 AC, I believe is what it does. And Jester purchased a Pearl of Power, which will allow her to restore one of her spell slots once a day. Not purchase two explosive arrows, basically. They add I think it was a D6 of fire damage when used. And Matt said that they would be one-time use, but then he kind of went back on that and was like, well, maybe under certain, you might be able to recover them. So maybe she'll get a few shots out of them, but they might just be kind of one and done sort of situation. Not paid 50 gold each for those. So they're a little expensive considering they don't really do that much. But those explosive or fire arrows or whatever they're called could be useful potentially for lighting things on fire as opposed to just pure extra damage. So they might be useful in dungeoneering and stuff like that later on. During and after the shopping trip, they were trying to weigh their options and consider what they should do next. They had offers on the table from multiple people, multiple groups who were trying to employ them. The city was offering to make them legionnaires and give them a weekly stipend, as well as send them immediately on a 10,000 gold bounty to go track down a previous legionnaire who had deserted and killed some of their people that they sent after him. They're also weighing the possibility of acting as armed guards for merchant caravans, signing up with them, or just kind of wandering off on their own and making their own way to wherever they decide to go. During this time, Caleb wanted to go see the library, the Cobalt Souls library, and so he had asked Bo to take him, and Bo said that she would only take him if he told her why he was afraid of fire. So Caleb finally did begrudgingly agree to this, and Liam had everyone leave the room except for Bo and Not, basically. So the other players are not aware of Caleb's backstory. Caleb told Bo and Not that he had been permitted into the Soltris Academy and was rising steadily in their ranks when he was taken into a pullout class kind of situation directly under the tutelage of Trent Icathorn, whom they met in the previous night. While under this man's tutelage, Caleb and two other wizards in training were put through rigorous, brutal, and torturous exercises in order to expedite their path to power, and were also forced to act as executioners and were constantly tested on their loyalty to the Empire. The final test that they had to undertake was killing their own parents. Apparently, they had all been placed with false memories of their parents being disloyal to the Empire, and that was the pretext under which they were instructed to kill their parents, because their parents were plotting to overthrow the Empire and to take down the government. So they all did. The first two killed their parents, the one poisoned them, I forget what the first one did, and then they all three together went to Caleb's house, barricaded the door, and Caleb set fire to the house as his parents burned inside. Caleb said hearing his parents' screams and experiencing this caused him to break, and so he spent a number of years in a mental institution of some sort. While in there, he met someone who seems to have like cast a spell on him or something, and it removed the clouds from his eyes, unbroke him essentially, but also removed the memories that he learned had been implanted in him by Ickethorn of his parents being disloyal to the Empire. So the pretext under which he had killed his parents was an implanted memory. However, Caleb said whether or not that memory was real, he still killed his parents, and so it doesn't really absolve him of anything. But he does want to get vengeance on Trent Ickethorn, and he seems to be obsessed with some sort of like reality distortion magic that he's trying to learn about. Maybe possibly like going back in the past or saving his parents, that kind of thing is what it seems like. So yeah, we got a big old Caleb lore dump, but aside from that, there wasn't a ton that happened this episode. It was really a lot of the Mighty Nein trying to figure out what they wanted to do next. And then as they were kind of wrapping up the session, they ended the night with Kara coming up and saying that the gentleman would like to speak with them and has a job for them. So they have even more options on the table. So yeah, Matt wrapped up the episode by advancing everyone to level 5 and having them roll their hit dice, and everyone just kind of exploring what new powers they had as big old level 5 baddies adventurers. That's pretty much it. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next week.